I started at Tarian Technology as a software engineer, and I've worked on projects with DSTL and MOD at looking how to secure data. As you've heard from Mark from DSTL, and about in a military environment and how DCS can provide secure information flowing between nations and networks. And you might think, why is DCS relevant to my business? And I think it's very relevant because it has the potential to stop cybercrime, or at least significantly reduce it. So a few years back, we were probably all working in an office with little option of remote working. And if you were out of the office, you probably had difficulties accessing the information on the network. There are more and more cyber attacks. And why is this? Well, there's a number of reasons. And one reason is COVID-19. More devices were issued and we were allowed to work from home. There's bring your own device. And this has created a greater surface area attack area. And also, IT departments have not been implementing as many monitoring tools and upgrading and patching remote devices. And also the cyber criminals have got smarter, got better devices, got better software, and their main purpose is to find vulnerabilities in our systems. It's a big challenge for companies and IT departments, as remote working has presented new security risks alongside the ongoing global security attacks we face. And these are just some of the examples your IT departments face, and it all comes at a huge cost to the UK economy. And it's not all about the external guys. Unfortunately, there are reported unauthorized use of computers or network by staff. But I believe working at home and bringing your own device is here to stay. And network security alone is not protecting our data, so we need another approach. Data-centric security is able to encrypt our data. So even if a bad actor gets access to your data, they won't be able to read it. And there's attribute-based access control. So before being able to access a document, the user is authenticated and authorized. This may sound familiar with zero trust architecture, but it's also it's also key to DCS. DCS checks the attributes of the user, and it's not just username and password. It can check attributes such as device health, location, time of day, and all these attributes go to make a decision as to whether the user is granted or denied access to a file. For example, a user could only be allowed to access files on their work laptop between the hours of 9 till 5. And then there's monitoring tools, which we've talked about briefly. But all access to files are logged by DCS, whether granted or denied. And these log files aren't much use on their own, but if consumed by a security information and event management tool, then the company can start building a picture of their staff use and behavior. And these tools can consume other logs so that it is able to recognize potential security threats. So you can start spotting those hackers who are trying to access your files in the middle of the night on a high-powered desktop. So not only do you have to deal with the bad guys from inside and outside your company, you also have to conform to regulations. Most of us have heard of GDPR and the need to protect personal data in our companies. And British Airways and Marriott Hotels have both been fined £20 million over data breaches. DCS can protect our personal data by encrypting the data and checking the attributes, so only allowing the right users access to the data at the right time, and also by using a monitoring tool to check for unusual behaviour. And that's not all DCS can offer in helping you to conform to regulations. It can also help with the retention life cycle. GDPR say that you should only keep the information as long as you need it. So every file could be kept for 1 week, 2 years, 6 years, or permanently. DCS is able to hold a retention period in its metadata. So you could potentially have an automated process that looks at these files and flags them when they're near the end of their retention period. And then they could be reviewed and deleted or reset. And the retention period, the retention of data is not just a regulation issue, it's a climate issue. 2% of the world's energy resources is used to maintain data that is unlikely to be accessed. And this is set to rise by 20% by the year 2025. If data continues to expand this way, then I can see there'd be new regulations and fines coming into force to control the growth. These are the key benefits of using DCS, and I have only touched briefly on enhanced security. DCS is an approach, not an out-of-the-box solution. We believe that DCS is a must for all businesses in the public or private sector to protect our data, conform to regulations, and even saving the planet. If you think your business could benefit from DCS, and we would love to hear from you, as we're working with Ploughshare to find our first DCS adopters. And also, we do have a white paper available, or coming soon, and if you would, and with much more detail, and if you would like a copy, then please email me. Right, and thank you for listening, and if you've got any questions.
Thank you very much, Wendy. Nice and succinct. Well within the time.